What is up to my Van Dam fam out there? I hope you are having an absolutely terrific day. But really, between you and I don't believe in absolutes. I can't because I know there's always got to be room for an exception. I'm exceptional in many areas, so I have to take that perspective. People think that they are defining their standards by giving themselves absolutes. But I think that they're limiting their mindset and that they're giving themselves closed minds. I myself, of course, I'm too open minded to believe in absolutes. People will say, hey, all cops are assholes. Well, no, they're not. Some, okay. All, no. You know what's really ignorant? Guys will say something like, dude, girls from Bellevue are easy. That's an absolute, dude, based on the number of girls that you've been with from said city. What a stupid thing to say. If you're one of those people, don't talk to me, dude. Don't talk to me. You know who is an absolutist? Racists. When in fact, they should consider each different circumstance circumstantially. So those are my beliefs. We are taught when we're young certain things, and Rvdology is all about reprogramming yourself from an adult perspective, if you choose to do so, which I certainly have. People always say, well, I wasn't brought up that way. That's fine. But do you want to be that way now? Because it is your choice. I mean, we're taught certain things that work fine as a child. Absolute things. Never let them disrespect you. You punch them right in the mouth. Hey, you don't ever let somebody talk down to your family, right? You better not ever let somebody put your mama down like that without you whooping their ass. Well, guess what? That works fine on the playground. In real life, that kind of thinking could absolutely wind you up in jail. Everything should be considered for all of its own unique factors. Every pathway of decision, every choice. When you say absolutes, I mean, it could be something benign, like I would never be caught dead wearing something like that. You know, maybe a girl might say, I would never date somebody that makes less money than I do. All right, those are your standards, but come on, dude. There's always exceptions. It's a great exception. Money. How about Ted DiBiase says, "Yo, let me give you $1 million, and you just sit there for 5 minutes. Let me roast your family. You're not gonna do it. I bet you, for a certain amount, you would. Some of those things that were so absolute aren't as absolute anymore when you really think about it. You never know. Sometimes you have to use common sense instead of that trigger that you have in your mind that says, no, this is a rule. This is a rule, a strict rule of mine. I already know how to respond to this without thinking about it. Closed minded thinking. How many people do we know that said, dude, if I would have got smacked in the face, I would have been fighting. Even if I would have got my ass kicked, I would have swung. We would have gone down fighting. You don't know for sure. If you got caught by the element of surprise and common sense told you, like, hey, the best thing to do is to try to laugh this off or get out of this awkward moment without getting hurt worse. You don't know. So, no absolutes. What about death, right? I have too open of a mind to tell you that I know absolutely that I'm going to die. For all I know, this whole thing could be all about me and you're all just extras in my play. I don't know. What about the people that think you carry on? What does death mean to whoever's talking about it? Are we talking about the same thing? What about people that believe in reincarnation? What about people that believe that we're going to see the end of the world? God's going to come and say, hey, you guys are good, you guys are bad, you suck, you're going to be rewarded. Do I know for sure that I'm going to die? I don't know. I've never died before. There's never been an RVD before. There's never been a March 2022 before. Everything is brand new. So, if there's always room for an exception, there can't be absolutes. And there could be an exception to the fact that there's no absolutes. And maybe that's death. I don't know. Here's something I'll share with you. All right. I learned this lesson when I was bouncing at a country bar in Tampa, Florida, the Wild West. I was 20 years old when I started there, not even old enough to get in, to go inside. I turned 21 actually, like the week after I got hired, or sometime right around then. But anyway, I was like 205 pounds. The owner didn't think that I'd be big enough to handle the trouble inside. It was a rough bar. There was fights every night. A lot of the other guys were really big. So I was parking lot security while I was wrestling at the Tampa Sportatorium on Thursdays, training in between. I was bouncing at the Wild West bar. I drove around a golf cart, looked for trouble. One time, a fight came outside. Barry, bouncer, was kicking some people out. He turned his back on one guy to push the other guy, and the guy lunged at him. I was quick, moved in between them, caught the guy up on my shoulder like a sack of potatoes. I just carried him out on my shoulder, away from Barry. Slammed him like an Alabama slammer. I hate taking those moves. And the owner was like, boom, Rob, you're inside. I proved myself. We abused our authority a lot. Looking back, we were assholes. We wanted respect. People were breaking fights out, sometimes 3 times a night. We felt disrespected. They weren't doing that at the Dallas Bull, our competition. We shouldn't have taken it personally. There's definite lines, and they're put there so that there's rules that the authority enforces, and it's the kind of job that takes a lot of responsibility. We were getting together saying we need to start being a little more rough on people, get them thinking twice about starting trouble in our club. One night, there's a wedding party at the Wild West Club. We thought that was kind of trashy because, it's like free draft from 8 to 10. You wait in line, but you get your beer, you go back to the end of the line, make it through a few times, you're drunk. By the time it stops at 10 o'clock. And this party was drunk. They're all over the place. Got our eyes on them because they're troublesome. Pretty soon we hear that the groom is out in the parking lot being an asshole, kicking cars and pulling antennas off of cars. Just being drunk, being an asshole. Well, we went out there to confront him. He's bowing up. All his boys come out. The bouncers come out. It's a huge standoff. The one rule that we had was you can't hit them first, no matter what. If they punch you, you're good to go. Everything's on. Well, they were talking so much shit. The groom was in my face. So close. And I was begging him to hit me. And he's like, motherfucker, I'm going to knock your ass out. You fucking pussy. Right in my face. And I'm looking over at the owner, Marie. Please let me hit him. You know, and she's, don't hit him first. Well, this went on and on for a long time. You know, there's a bunch of them, a bunch of us. They're really talking shit. It's getting through. It's getting through to me. Pretty soon, the dude in my face, the groom says, man, I'll kick your ass and I could kick all of y'all's asses because you ain't nothing but a bunch of pussies. I had enough. I grabbed him by the chest of his shirt, whew, and I pushed him really hard. And like a bowling ball, this motherfucker just like slid across the parking lot. Fucking seemed like 10, 15 yards. Well, boom. At that moment, it's on. Somebody jumped behind me and they put their right arm around my neck, trying to put me in a headlock. I grabbed his arm. As I pulled it away and pulled my head out, I also, I kept the arm and bent it behind his back. So I now have him in a hammerlock over his shoulder while he's facing me and his head is bent down. Perfect setup for an uppercut. Schmack. Which I gave him. That motherfucker's out. Caught him right in the forehead. Broke my knuckle on that. But he stayed out long after the dust settled and people were telling their stories. They're still picking him up from the ground. A couple other people come at me. We're engaged. Someone's pulling my shirt. Everything happens so fast. I don't really remember all the details. But afterwards, they have me inside while everyone's talking to the police. And the reason I'm inside is because I have heat, because the wedding party is telling the police that I punched the bride. It turns out she's the one who was pulling on my shirt. I'm sitting inside the bar on a stool waiting. The owner told me to just wait there. And my shirt is just torn to shreds. And now all these rednecks from inside, they're pissed at me. You know, they're checking out what's going on and stuff. And I got all these cowboy hat wearing deep south cowboys saying, hey, that ain't cool, man. You never hit a woman. Everybody. They just automatically, I don't care what the story is, there's never a reason to hit a woman. That's bullshit. I doubled down. Fuck you, I'll kick your ass too. I was standing my ground. Things were ugly. Everybody was pissed. Everyone was screaming. It was one of the biggest fights that they had at that bar. It didn't start up again with the customers. Almost did several times. Made some enemies. But in the end, when everybody's story came out, it turns out that the groom is the one that punched his own wife. I don't know how it happened. It was behind my back. Pretty funny, though, to end the story with that after everyone was talking shit. But I learned something from that whole incident, you know? Because it made me think, you know, I grew up like that, respecting women, and I believe also, you know, you don't hit a woman, but never, like, absolutely, positively, there's never a valid reason to hit a person because they have a vagina. I don't know. I mean, if a girl has a gun pointed at your head, she's about to shoot you, and you have the opportunity to smack a bitch down, that's against your values? How about when the girls feel like they're men and they just wail on a guy and they're pulling his hair and they're punching and kicking? Some guys will let their women just do that to them. It's very abusive. I can respect a guy that will take an ass whooping from his girl and not fight back. Sometimes, circumstantially. But I can't say that I agree that no matter what, there would never be a reason. I'm not an absolutist, If you can't think of a reason, again, how about bitch is trying to kill you and it's like an escape. Personally, I haven't hit a girl since me and my sister fought as children. That was okay for me back then. But I don't believe in absolutes. Can you imagine 100 years ago? Let's go back to 1922. You're having a conversation out on the dirt road, sitting on your horses, a couple of automobiles come by with their big fat wheels. And you're saying, hey, do you think it'd be possible that I could take a photo of you and send it to the other side of the planet, to Japan, and they could get the picture of you in a couple of seconds? Well, fuck no. You would say absolutely not. But it was possible. We just didn't have the knowledge. We didn't know anything about the cell phones and radio waves and none of that. So it would have seemed absolutely impossible, like many things now. Maybe teleporting seems absolutely impossible. But you know what? We still have everything we had back in 1922, except the know-how. Unless we got raw materials from outer space in the last 100 years that I don't know about. So, I don't know. I believe anything's possible. I'm open-minded. And if you think that, you can't really think that there's absolutes. Except vodka. And Russian vodka is an issue right now, and let's not get into that. Just, whatever you do, take my words, use them to confirm your feelings of the opposite, or realize that Rvdology is the way to go. Have an absolutely incredible day.